Hello, this is Dartcephalus. Hopefully you can hear me over the wind. We're back for part 5 of the tutorial on using the Force, and this time around I wanted to deal with the idea of rolls. Now we've gotten some look at hand rolls to begin, or in the past tutorials, and the way that they roll around the thumb with the spin and a half. Okay, the reverse. So that's a little bit of a roll, but the idea is basically the same. This time we're going to look at more of the basic roll, the things that you're used to. The trick here is that these things are all a lot easier with a saber staff, rather. There are a lot of people out there doing rolls with saber staffs. I've seen them go around the neck, around arms, around the hand. The rolls have to do with the length of the point of balance of your saber. So if you've got a heavier saber that's more evenly distributed, you've got a greater width to play with. In a saber staff, we can roll it around our hand one direction, roll it around the hand the other, fairly easy. We can do that with a saber as well. We just have to have an appropriately weighted saber, usually a pretty heavy pommel. The longer the saber, the better as well. So if you have extensions of some kind, you can be able to do things with the saber that you can't do if you're just working with a standard size saber. If you want to see some examples of this, there are some videos from a person named Spinning Spades who does full contact work with sabers. And you'll realize that his sabers, some of which are on fire, are usually about twice as long as the one that I'm dealing with here, and they have big balls at the end that are, or a big ball at the end that's weighting it down to sort of offset the blade weight. But just some simple stuff that you can do with regular sabers. In past tutorials with flips, we looked at just the standard flip on each side. The roll is going to be basically a variation on this, except instead of making it go airborne, what we're going to be doing, let's see if I'm, okay, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be rolling the saber around the top of the hand and catching it. Now you'll notice when I do this, I'm very low, very close to the pommel. That makes it a little bit dangerous. This is the point at which you'll lose the saber if you can't make this grab. Okay, the way back, I'll be resetting it, rolling it around the hand, back up to a standard grip. Okay, you'll notice I'm also wearing a glove here to sort of increase my grip and also to increase the give between, or to sort of soften the bounce between my hand and the saber. So once you get a handle on this idea of rolls, the idea of the point of balance and how it will rotate, how it'll go over your hand if you want it to, you can use the same concept to make it go over your other arm, make it go over a leg or around your neck if you have enough room to play with. The problem with the neck and how that works mostly with saber staffs is on saber staffs we got about this much room to play with. Here I got really about this much, and that's not enough to cover all the way around my neck, so I'd have to have a longer, differently weighted saber. So just to show you a little bit about what I'm talking about, so I'll do a downward and an upward contact. And you notice this is very similar to the flip, except instead of letting it go, I'm pushing my hand up into it to maintain that contact while it spins, just enough to get the contact, not enough to make it fly away. Of course, there it flies away, but dealing with a little bit of wind here. But you notice on this side, I'm going to the low grip, and then on this side, switching back to the regular. Okay, now these are pretty difficult with a standard saber. Like I said, put some quarters in here. You can weight them a little bit differently. You can do this a little bit more efficiently. In future tutorials, I might use a different saber, modified a little bit differently to be able to show this. But that same idea of rolling over the hand, here it is in an upward. Practice over something soft, just like I said in the other ones. Okay, there was a little bit of flip there. Let me do it this direction on an upward. into a little bit of a groove here, it gets easier. But still, kind of an awkward thing. The basic premise, though, is the same thing that we'll do to spin it over an arm. And you notice what I did there is I sort of threw it up onto the arm and then just let it roll over. Had I not had my arm there, I'd have been doing that. But I put my arm in the middle, press it against the saber, and I get that. And I can move the saber while it's in air. I can shove it up or let it drop. Just gives me, the brief contact here gives me a little bit of room to push the saber while it's in midair. And that's sort of what you're doing with a lot of the contact moves. When we get into the palm spins, it's a matter of moving your palm to the saber while it's doing what it's doing and being able to push it sort of while it's in air and maintain that contact. It's the illusion. That's a lot of the things with contact juggling. It's an illusion. With that contact ball that I showed you during the first introductory video, really I'm throwing the ball and catching it on the back of my hand and throwing it and catching it on the front of my hand. But by being able to minimize that movement and keep my fingers attached to it, I give it the illusion that the ball is rolling up over the tips of my fingers and landing on the back, and it technically is. But that has nothing to do with my fingers making it do that. That has to do with the ball doing what the ball will do and my hand moving to it. Same thing with this. Okay, the saber is going to do what the saber is going to do. I move my arm to it. Okay, and you can do this over a leg. If you have an appropriately weighted saber, you can spin it over your shoulders, maintaining the contact just on the idea that the saber is going to do what it's going to do. If you let go of it, I'm just using my body to make certain it doesn't fall quite as much as it might otherwise. So, basic introduction to contact span, or to the contact rolls. More on these in later videos, especially when we deal with the palm rolls. And hopefully this has at least been of a little help, and I will see you on the forums.